The Elephant's Child.
We all love big animals such as elephants. Have you ever noticed their long trunks? Do you know why the elephants have so long trunks? Here is a wonderful story which could be written by none other than Rudyard Kipling about how the elephant got its trunk. In far off times, the elephant did not have a long trunk. He had only a blackish nose as a boot that he could wriggle about from side to side, but he couldn't pick up things with it. But there was one elephant, an elephant child, who was full of insatiable curiosity, which means that he asked ever so many questions. The elephant's child lived in Africa, and he asked so many questions that everyone was fed up with him.
Why is your neck so long?
Mind your own business,
she said, spanking him with her hard claw.
Why are your eyes so red?
He asked his broad aunt the hippopotamus, and his broad aunt the hippopotamus spanked him with her broad hoof. He asked his hairy uncle the baboon
Why melons tasted the way they did?
Stop irritating me, fella,
said he, spanking with his hairy paw. He asked questions about everything he saw, heard, felt, smelt, or touched, and all his aunts and uncles spanked him, and still he was full of insatiable curiosity. One fine morning, his old friend, a colo bird, flew by.
I wonder what the crocodile has for dinner, colo bird.
Quite familiar with the elephant child's insatiable curiosity, the bird said,
go to the banks of the great green Limpopo River and find out.
The very next morning, the elephant's child took 100 pounds of bananas and 17 melons and said to all his family members,
Goodbye. I am going to the great green Limpopo River to find out what the crocodile has for dinner.
And they spanked him once more for luck, though he asked them most politely to stop. After travelling for many days, eating the bananas and the melons all the way and throwing the peels all over because he could not pick them up, the elephant's child came to the banks of the great green Limpopo River, exactly as the colo bird had said. Now you must understand that till that very week, and day, and hour, and minute, this elephant's child had never seen a crocodile and did not know what a crocodile even looked like. So eating melons for that was all that was left, and throwing the rind about, for he could not pick it up. He came to the very edge of the great green Limpopo River and trod on what he thought was a log of wood. The log of wood, for that was the crocodile, looked at the elephant and winked one eye like this.
Excuse me, please, but have you seen a crocodile anywhere?
The elephant's child asked, ever so politely. The crocodile now winked the other eye and lifted his tail out of the mud.
Come hither, little one. Why do you ask such things? I am the crocodile.
The elephant's child grew all breathless and panted and kneeled down on the bank and said excitedly,
Huh? You are the very person I have been looking for all these days? Will you please tell me what you eat for dinner?
Come hither, little one,
said the crocodile.
and I'll whisper.
Then the curious elephant's child put his head down close to the crocodile's musky, tusky mouth and leaned down to hear the answer.
I eat elephants. Ah!
And snap, a row of big sharp teeth closed around the elephant's little nose, which up to that very week, day, hour and minute had been no bigger than a boot. Much annoyed speaking through his nose, the elephant child cried,
Let go! You are hurting me!
Seeing that the crocodile had no intention of letting go of his nose, the elephant's child sat back on his little haunches and pulled, and his nose began to stretch. 1 foot long, The elephant's child nose kept on stretching 2 feet long. Crocodile would not let go of his dinner. Now the elephant's child spread all his forelegs and pulled and pulled and pulled, and his nose kept on stretching 3 feet long.
This is too much for me.
Speaking through his nose, he struggled to get free. Little by little he moved, pulling away, then suddenly stumbled backwards and sat down with a plop. Oh, what a relief! The crocodile, thrashing his tail about in the water, had to let go of the elephant's child's nose, now 4 feet long. He swam away, very hungry and very angry. That is why we say, a hungry man is an angry man. The insatiable elephant's child looked down and saw dangling from his face the longest, strangest nose anyone had ever seen. It was long and thick and round. It was so big, it was like a trunk of a small tree. Yes, it was a trunk. Hoping that his nose had swelled up due to all the pulling, he wrapped his poor, pulled and long nose in cool banana leaves and sat down waiting for it to shrink. 3 days went by, but the nose did not shrink. Suddenly, a fly came and stung him on the shoulder, and before he knew what he was about, he lifted his trunk and hit the fly dead with the end of it.
Why, I could have never done that with the small nose I had.
Before long, he was doing all sorts of things with his new long nose, squirting the river water on his back without having to kneel, plucking delicious fruit from the tree instead of waiting for it to fall and scratching himself with it. What fun! He was enjoying himself. Feeling homesick by now, he decided to return home. Finding his way back with the help of the banana skins and melon rinds he had dropped on the way here, he began his return journey, picking up the dead skins and rinds he had dropped, for he was a tidy pachyderm. Back into the arms of his loving family, his Uncle Baboon said,
Oh, come here and be spanked, nephew.
Boo!
said the elephant's child.
I don't think you people know anything about spanking, but I do, and I'll show you.
Then he uncurled his long new trunk, much to the amazement of his family, and spanked 2 of his dear brothers with it.
Oh, bananas!
They cried.
How is your nose so long? The crocodile gave it to me after I asked him what he had for dinner.
Before long, the entire family went off one by one to the crocodile in the great grey-green Limpopo River to get new long noses ever since. Elephants have had long trunks.